Galaxy 666 by Peltora. Session 35.
Welcome to the very middle of Galaxy 666, your ever-vigilant guide to here. Congratulations to all of you who have made it this far. Celebrations are in order. We shall toast the triumph together in spirit with a glass of Alco and a cooked leg of Herkelbeest. Chapter 9, a longish chapter, is a treasure trove of Pellisms, which we will begin to unpack from the back working forward. The end of the chapter is a space-filling synonym spewfest that Pell can be justly proud of. Not only does he bombard us with word after phrase after word describing a phantasm or mirage, he also skillfully avoids actually describing anything at all. Our team of thrill seekers reports seeing a flash of light that appears to be descending toward the planet in a way that suggests a level of control. Certainly more than our team was able to muster for the Space Greyhound, which they crashed, again, despite the fact the Greyhound was fully functional at the time. However, we have no idea what this new spaceship looks like. It doesn't look like an Empire ship, which begs the question, what does an Empire ship look like? You will recall from Session 17, we have no idea what the Space Greyhound even looked like. Pell floods us with a sea of words, but we are no better off for any of it. How much better if Pell had employed those 100 or so words on describing the object in question instead of pointlessly babbling. Descriptions give a person's imagination something to hold on to. Take the task of describing an actual mirage. If I say, imagine a mirage, the left portion of your brain conjures a predefined image of a mirage, and this image will be different from individual to individual. It would be far better if I engage the right and left sides of your brain by providing elements that the left will conjure up, but then the right can use to create a picture. The color of sand, how it sloped, the wind-made ripples, the wavering of the horizon, the reflection of the animal, the endless blue sky above bleached by the sun, without ever mentioning the word mirage. Many times better if I also describe the heat, the smell, the feel of dust and sand, the choking, the throbbing of the head as one suffers from dehydration. This is Pell at his best, a tsunami of words that define and redefine one thing which helps us not at all. We shall be on the watch for more such verbal disasters. For those with curiosity, Eruhorn is the title of a novel by Samuel Butler, published in 1872, where a fictitious country is used to satirize Victorian England. The name is an anagram of nowhere. The kingdom of Prester John refers to a legendary Christian kingdom constantly under attack by its neighbors that existed somewhere in Africa or East Asia, depending on the era from which the legends are taken. These tales were popular in Europe during the late Middle Ages, though they are little known today outside of theological and mythological circles. Galaxy 666 has many instances of interesting ideas being raised, albeit at the worst possible times, and often when action is required. Here is another example. How do we know what is real is in fact real? Plato postulated along these lines as he defined that there is a perfect form for each thing in existence, and what we are actually seeing are shadows of such existences, the shadows of the true forms being cast upon the wall of the cave. The Wachowski brothers provide an alternate view of this theory in their movie The Matrix, and even comedian and satirist Dennis Miller has a go at it with his joke, "How do I know the color of blue I see is the same color of blue you see?" The answer, of course, is to check the box of crayons, cha-cha. But Pell makes a sound point. All we do know about the world is what our senses tell us, and those senses are regularly deceived. However, to believe that the goal of this passage is to bring us to a heightened level of philosophical discussion on this issue is giving Pell a bit too much credit. There are moments in Galaxy 666 where one feels a deep sorrow to the very bowels, and Chapter 9 has two examples of this. The first is Bronit's notation that Galaxy 666 is a piece of punctuation that brings the Empire's prose to a rather savage halt. Not only are we affronted by such a dreadful analogy, we then must endure the praise of it by the characters in the book. The Empire, its system, logic, or whatever, is not being brought to a halt, is rather the physical laws of the universe are supposedly being brought to a savage halt. Of course, as those laws concern gravity, mass and energy, the interaction of photons, forces, and fields, which all seem to function just dandy-foo even on the apocryphal planet, even that reading of it fails to provide any understanding. The second bowel-buster is Korzak's quip, "Behold, the what's-it cometh," and Oski's response, "That phrase amuses me." The combination of the pitiful writing coupled with the book's self-praising virtually demands one's audible groan as if being impaled, and I can feel the spirit of Pell himself laughing at the lunacy of it all, knowing he is writing badly and that it will still be published and he will still be paid. However, John Spencer and company are laughing as well as they know this farce will be sold and money will be made. And so is the joke then ultimately on us for buying and muddling through? By no means, because the book is not just bad, it is spectacularly bad, which means it is fertile ground for humor, comment, and criticism of the most outlandish sort, and so we, laughing, win as well. In the whole circle of Galaxy 666, there are no losers, and that is the magic of it. In that crude way I come to the final comments, and that is on the Wheelbeast, and I will say only this for it. At least Pell described what the damn thing looked like. I know far more about this strange, briefly intervening beast looks like than any of our four companions, which speaks volumes for what Pell is doing wrong. What left is there to do but try to struggle forward through the second half of
Galaxy 666.
Here ends Session 35.